Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a disc some of you have mentioned and that we have talked about, and I'm happy to say it's absolutely marvelous. It's the Elgar Cello Concerto, arranged by Lionel Tertis for viola with the composer's approval. He actually conducted the premiere of that version. And the Bloch Suite for viola and orchestra, possibly the greatest work of its kind in the 20th century and before, because there's nothing really before. Let's see, who's the violist? Oh, Timothy Ridout, who's wonderful. A splendid musician with the BBC Symphony under Martyn Brabbins, who really conducts this stuff well with conviction and guts. It's just a terrific disc, and it's on Harmonia Mundi, and it comes in this nice little slipcase, so that we can see we can take it out of the slipcase. Maybe we go the other way out of the slip. Okay, here. Jeez, Lord, it doesn't even tear. There. It's out of the slipcase. It's exactly the same, no matter whether your slipcase is on or off. So what the hell good does this thing do? These things, they just make you crazy. But what won't make you crazy is the recording. Now, let's talk about the music, shall we? Now that we've gotten it out of its cool little paper slipcase. The Elgar Cello Concerto has never been a piece that I've enjoyed. I mean, I respect it more than I love it. You know what I mean? You know what it reminds me of, the Elgar Cello Concerto? It's sort of a faded relic of a piece. You know, I'm not the only person here who had a grandmother who had a house, and the house always had a living room that no one was allowed in. But it was set up as though people were allowed in it. You know what I mean? It had carpeting, and it had plastic runners. You had to stay on the plastic path leading to a sofa and chair covered in transparent plastic so that nobody would sit on it and leave a stain or a spot, even though no one was ever allowed in the room. I mean, you couldn't go in the room. I mean, there was like a barrier. You could not go in the room. That was the room that no one was allowed in. People went into the den because the den had the TV, and that's where, and God forbid children should go in. Oh my God, no. Children could not go into the living room. And it had, aside from the plastic covered everything, you know, you had those lamps with crystal daggers hanging from them and little crystal candy dishes with absolutely nothing in them, and an ashtray that God forbid should ever contain an ash. I mean, Elgar's Cello Concerto is kind of like that sort of old, faded 1950s, you know, well-upholstered room that no one's allowed into. That's how it always struck me. And I have to say, in Lionel Tertis's arrangement, slightly modified according to the notes by Timothy Ridout, in this arrangement, it sounds better. I think with the cello, it sounds like a little bit too puffy and big. Kind of like, aside from my grandmother's living room, it's like one of my grandmother's living rooms with one of those enormous Cadillacs with tail fins in it. You know, it just sounds so much less bovine. There's much less of a moo cow sound to it when it's played by the viola. It lightens it up a little bit. It gives it a certain liveliness, just of timbre that the cello doesn't have. Now, I have friends who are cellists who are going to kill me for saying that. But I think the piece works wonderfully well in this viola arrangement, and it's very beautifully played here. I mean, it really does. There's some things you can't overcome in the piece, like the opening of the scherzo, the second movement. It's only 4 minutes long, and it takes a minute and a half before it even starts. It just keeps introducing, you know, it's going and then finally, for 3 minutes, it actually goes zipping along. You know, it's a problematic work. Okay, never mind. That's just me. I know there are people who love it. And this performance makes a fabulous case. And so does Brabbins' accompaniment, by the way. I mean, he really lets the music swell and plays it with plenty of accentuation and passion. So it doesn't all sound like, well, grandma's living room. Anyway, so that's that. Now the Bloch. Oh, I've been raving about the Bloch on this channel for ages. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. It's an exotic, voluptuous piece, stunningly scored. It also exists in a version for cello, by the way, although cello and piano. Though you could do the cello part with this orchestral part, it would probably be marvelous. That would be fun too, wouldn't it? Anyway, it is a glorious work in 4 yummy movements with lots of exotic Orientalisms that some people think are tacky, and I don't believe that. I could return to my grandmother again, who said, every room needs a touch of Chinese. Yes, that's what happened to 1950s Jewish ladies. You had to have a touch of Chinese in your living room that nobody could go into and nobody could touch. Well, Bloch has a touch of Chinese, but you can feel it. It's tactile. It's marvelous. You can stroke it. It's sexy, amazing. The third movement is this incredible nocturne, just full of dense, dark, fuzzy wonderfulness. It's just great. Oh my gosh, it's great. The piece is fabulous and unbelievably well scored. And yeah, so what? It's exotic. It makes you want to hear it, and really sets off the viola. I mean, it turns the viola into a major figure of exotic wonder and mystery. Just great. Absolutely great. So and it doesn't get recorded enough. So I'm so happy this came out. I think, like I said, that the performances are second to none. Boy, the finale of the Bloch, it's amazing. If you know the other recordings, you really do have to hear this, because this may be the finale for sure that you've been waiting for. It's just dynamite, absolute dynamite, splendidly recorded, first class in every respect. Despite the fact that our soloist here is, trying to look, very, very metaphysical. It's not metaphysical. It's exciting. It's just plain physical. And I want physical. You will too. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.